Welcome back to the Fighter's Corner. Today we are interviewing somebody that's got more bare knuckle fights than any other American on this continent. Is a guy named Erik Olsin. He's actually a real interesting character. He draws a lot of attention, both good, both bad, both good and bad. And he's a polarizing character, but he's somebody that, in my opinion, in terms of overall knowledge in the bare knuckle scene in Europe, there's not many people that can kind of compete with his knowledge. John, Jonah, when we talk about things like this, we always try to bring people into the podcast that can bring a perspective that none of us can. And Erik Olsin is that guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, seemed like a real good character. I wish we could have picked his brain a little bit more.
We're going to in the future.
And I have a feeling that we are going to, and it's going to be fun. I can already tell that the episodes that we record with him going forward are going to be real fun.
Yeah.
This is our third bare knuckle fighter we've had on, and we always say this guy's style translates great. This style translates great. This interview gets into what we mean. Mm-hmm. It talks about how bare knuckle differs from other combat sports a little bit. But just a little bit, and we're going to have to get a little bit deeper into that.
We're going to
Erik Olsin real soon.
We're going to get real Star Warsy with bare knuckle in the very near future, and I'm going to apologize for it ahead of time. But there's a need for it, and I'm going to be honest with you, I'm into it. Mm-hmm. So Erik Olsin, I think with a little bit of polish, is somebody that can kind of translate to doing some media. And we're going to try to help him get there, as well as he's going to help us with his knowledge. Like, it is going to be a real good exchange between
it seems like it'll be real fun picking his brain.
Absolutely. So, hey, guys, if you like this, please like, share, subscribe. We're on YouTube now. We just started our YouTube channel. We're kind of getting everything together. We're about coming to a head with all of our information, and our technology is kind of catching up with everything. So I think within the next 2 months, it's going to be a much different podcast than what people are experiencing right now.
Yeah. Either way, though, enjoy the show.
I like to bet on the fights with my friends. Problem is, my friends are all broke, mostly because they bet against me. That's all right. I'm going to take my picks to BetDSI. With 20 years online, BetDSI has more deposit options than any other online sportsbook. They have fast, secure payouts, and when you use promo code Fighters Corner, one word, they're going to give you 100% sports cash bonus. Build a bigger bankroll quicker.
Also, please don't forget to subscribe, hit like, share, all because you can find us on iTunes, Spotify, Radio Player, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, TuneIn Radio, and the guy sitting next to you on the train is probably listening to us too. And if you can, show us your support by finding us on Patreon, where you can let us know how much you love us. And if you're a fan of boxing, jiu-jitsu, kumite, and even capoeira, go check out my guys at UCL MMA. These guys are the heavyweight champions of mixed martial arts shows. And if you think you're the next Johnny Lawrence, go to their website at uclmma.com, shoot them an email and tell them John sent you before asking their matchmaker that you want to defend your All-Valley Karate Championship versus one of their fighters. That's uclmma.com. I also want to thank our new Danish friends from Denmark, Malte Castro, who was kind enough to let us use his beats for this podcast. I've listened to his tracks, and this kid's pretty talented for being this young. If you like the track being played right now, go check out his music on Spotify, and you can also find Malte Castro on Instagram and Facebook. Go find this guy. It's pretty good music.
Welcome back to the Fighters Corner podcast. John Goroski, Jonah Williams, and today we've got Marco Goroski captaining the ship. This episode is going to be dedicated to the bare knuckle scene, but it's not the bare knuckle scene here in the United States. It's going to be about Europe. There's a burgeoning scene there, and there's actually a. I believe I'm correct when I say this. There is one person that has had more bare knuckle fights in the United. There's not a single person in the United States that's had more bare knuckle fights than our guest today, and that's Erik Olsin. Welcome, Erik.
Thank you. Hello. Thank you for having me on.
Welcome to the show, bud.
Is that a true fact? Is there an
I
American?
believe it is.
There isn't an American with more bare knuckle experience than yourself. Am I correct?
No, I don't believe there's an American with more bare knuckle experience than me, and more bare knuckle experience over in the home of bare knuckle, which would be England, because I have 8 fights for them for BKB trademark UB-bed, and I'm 4-4 currently. And I will just put this in now. I don't care who disagrees with it. 3 of those 4 losses are extremely questionable. You can go watch those losses on YouTube. Me versus Nathan Leeson, me versus Sean George 1, me versus Sean George 2. So, you can take that how you want it.
Right, well, let me counter you real quick. So, Sean George, Eric fought him in the second bare knuckle event over there that they did. And wait, let's give a proper plug. June 8th is the next BKB event. If you go to the Fight TV app, it's only $15, and I'm telling you, it is absolutely worth it. Like, if you're into combat sports, what they're doing over there, Eric, you got to buckle up, bro. That's your seatbelt. You got to put that seatbelt on, bro.
He's a punk rocker.
Oh, no, this is a rental car. So when I go out of the lanes, because I can barely drive like a civilized human being, it beeps every time I go into another lane. Fucking technology for you.
Yeah, so Sean George, just so we're all on the same page right here, Sean George, in my opinion, is one of the best bare knuckle fighters in the world. And the levels that he is fighting at right now, and like the transitions where he's at, if you're a gloved boxing fan and you don't love yourself some Sean George, dude, correct yourself. What that guy is doing in the ring is incredible. So Eric fought him twice. Eric goes over there. I'm assuming you hitchhiked to get to Europe because at BKB 2, there's no way. I think their budget was allowable to bring in a lot of foreign talent. Let's start. How did you get over there in the first place?
All right, so the first fight was me against Nathan Leeson. I had seen a documentary on Vice about that company, and I was bored one night eating like Chinese food or something, and I was like, well, I've been fighting everything forever. Bare knuckle fighting, cool. And I wrote them an email. And Jim Freeman Dove got back to me. And he's like, we've had some, he's cool. He's like, we've had some bad luck with some Americans. This idiot Billy Martin in the past took money that they bought him a ticket and then just, like, he asked for an advance up front and they bought him a ticket and gave it to him and he ran with the money. So they're like, if you're really serious, get yourself a ticket and a passport, fly yourself over and we'll take care of you. So I had nothing but a promise and a dream, kind of, so to speak. So I've been fighting all over.
You didn't have a passport up until this point?
No, I just got out of prison a few years earlier. I got out when I was 25. Wow. And then, like, a little while later, I was, like, watching TV, and I saw that. And then I seen it 2 years later, and I was like, okay, cool. I got a passport, and I booked myself a ticket, alone, no corner, nobody. I knew somebody from online, from talking to him on YouTube. Videos, a guy named Sam Jones, who's a professional boxer.
Okay.
And I flew over on my own dollar, landed, and Sam was 2.5 hours late. And when he got there, we had to take a bus back from Heathrow to Bournemouth, which is 4.5 fucking hours, and then take a cab from the bus station back to the house. So I brought myself over some spending money for like food because I didn't know anyone. And I arrived in Bournemouth, which is South England. It's a beautiful town. In my opinion, the best part of England. It's right on the beach. And I went to sleep, and then the next day I was there for like 12 days before the fight. I just walked around town going to every gym and boxing gym because MMA is not huge over there, and saying, hey, I'm Eric Olsin. I'm a professional kickboxer, Muay Thai, and K1 rules fighter from back in New York. What's a mat fee? Who can I spar with? I got a bare knuckle fight in Coventry. So people were kind of like blown back by it. Like, who the fuck is this guy? And I just walked around town, and that's how I developed my friends and my fan base, was quite literally going over alone, like an alien being dropped out of a fucking shuttle into like another world and just landing and existing. I walked all over South England. I refused to get on a motorcycle.
That's pretty cool.
And I wasn't spending a ton of money on cabs, so I just take a bus and fucking walk. I can tell you parts of England,
All right,
so that's how I got there.
Let me break this down. This guy gets out of prison. It's about 2 a.m. He's probably been drinking all night. He throws out an email.
I don't drink.
Okay, you don't drink. All right.
I don't do anything.
It's good for you. Good for you. I'm sober as well. So it's, late night. Drops an email, says, all right, you want to fight a gypsy? All right, buy yourself a ticket and come over here. And he does it. That's good. That's Eric, this is an excellent start. So you win your first fight, and then his second fight.
No. The first fight with Nathan, I didn't win. That fight was debatable because it was 5 rounds, and I knocked him down in the second round. BKB has a 20 count. I took his jaw off of his body, and he was cleared by 15. He continued to fight, and I couldn't really land on him again. In my opinion, I run round 1, and I run round 2, and 3 was even, or he won by a point. He won 4 pretty big, and he won 5. They gave him that fight, but the fight I put up, because he's an undefeated bare knuckle boxer, and he's a gloved boxer with like 50 gloves fights over there. He's legitimate. The fact that I took it to him and I knocked him down on a left hook, and then when I was getting tagged, didn't matter. I just kept going for 5 rounds. That, like, they loved it. They solidified it. The people there, I've never, like, hundreds of people walking up and offering to buy me drinks, take pictures with me,
That's pretty
adding me
cool,
on
too.
Facebook, Instagram. Yeah, so that I actually gained more by the quote-unquote loss. And again, that's all depending on how you see the fight. If you say I lost, I don't really care. If you say I won, that's cool.
I didn't see that fight
That's
online.
Nathan Leeson. Eric Olsin versus Nathan Leeson.
Okay,
You
so
type that in, it'll come up.
was that the main event then? Because it was a 5-round fight.
No, that wasn't the main event. That was for a transcontinental title.
Okay, so it was a
transatlantic
title
title, and I lost it. But by losing that fight, that built me up as like an indomitable will type thing, like Gladiator, and it actually worked out better for me than if I had won, I think, because it showed people I had heart. Because he was a great boxer. After I knocked him down,
People
I
respect
really
that.
couldn't land on him clean.
All right,
Yeah,
all right, so
and he was kind of punching my face in. So I just hung in there. I was like, fuck it, we're going to go.
All right, so he fights Sean George next. All right.
So Peter Radford next. After Peter Radford, I won.
Well,
then I fought Sean George.
Why is Sean George BKB 2? Am I off?
Well,
I don't know.
they
Go ahead.
changed their format around. Before that Sean George fight, they were having bare knuckle events, and they flew me over for the second one, but they didn't have this BKB 1, BKB 2 thing. They've been marketing that, I guess, similar to the UFC does, UFC 1, UFC 2. But before that started, they had like BKB in Nottingham, BKB in Coventry.
Okay.
You know, so it was different. So Sean George was my third fight. I lost the first on points to Nathan. Very closely. You can watch that online. And then I dominated Peter Radford. I mean, another one that he didn't really even hit me, and I dropped him in the second. Well, I staggered him, and they gave him a 20 count on an overhand right. And this was back in the day when BKB was 15-pound difference. So you could be 15 pounds between your opponent, same day weigh-in. So
yeah. All right,
then
so when you get to Sean
fight with Sean George.
All right, so when you get to Sean George, Sean George was pretty green at the time, and you know what? Like when you watch,
Is he a native of England?
yeah.
Okay.
He's Welsh. No,
Is he
he's Welsh. He hates the English.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So we're having Eric Olsin on. Well, not only because one, he's incredibly entertaining to watch, but two, that BKB scene over there is red hot right now, and there's very few people on either side of the pond that know these guys like Eric Olsin does. I've got a good understanding of them. Like I can talk the talk, do the lingo, tell you the names, but in regards to knowing these guys with personal relationships and like their inner dealings, Eric Olsin, honestly, like his insight into these guys is phenomenal. So June
I've been
8th,
around him for 4.5 years.
yeah, so June 8th is the next event on Fight TV. Guys, it's $15. I'm telling you, buy it. So Eric is not on that card, and I'm assuming, was it something you said, or are they just giving you a break? Because your interviews are incredibly entertaining.
I think it was a bit of both. So at the last BKB event, if you watch Mark Navarro get his face beat in by Sean George after the fight's done, Mark grabbed the mic in his stupid Scottish accent, and he started insulting me. I was hanging out with Sean George's people because I love the Welsh, and they're like, "You gonna let him say that?" I said, "Oh, fuck no, I'm not letting him say that." So I walked up to the ring, and I started having words live with Mark. He ran at me, and Jim broke it up. They kicked me off stage. They dragged me out of the fucking venue. I got reprimanded, and Jim was like, you've upset. I really harassed Dundee, the town he's from. I really made them cry. They're pretty weak over there. They can't deal with my type of fucking like shit talking. So it was kind of like, we're going to arrest you for one, because every Scottish person, with the exception of maybe two, doesn't want to come if you're here. Like, people try to boycott shows I'm on to try to get me banned. It's so fucking pathetic. So he was like, let's do that. And then my birthday is June 8th anyway, and I wanted to do a fight back here. I'm fighting June 7th. So I was like, yeah, that's cool. Bring back the Lord God Emperor of BKB, Eric Olsin, in September.
That's true.
14th, and that's what we're
That's good.
lined up for.
Now, your next fight is against Ryan Castro, correct? Where's that at?
That's it. Triton Fights in Westbury, Long Island, New York. That's a 5-round K1 rules, 185, 190 pound
Kickboxing.
K1 rules kickboxing match.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
kickboxing is my bread and butter. Yeah.
So I was checking you out on YouTube. You mentioned a bare knuckle K1 style fight. Is that what this one is going to be, or is this a regular K1 style?
No. I wish it was. No. This is just regular K1 rules. This isn't bare knuckle. They're not allowed to do that here. You can't even have a pro MMA event here unless you're UFC to cover the insurance. No, so this is a regular K1, 10-ounce gloves. And we get to bounce shin bones and knees off each other's heads, legs, and bodies. So we'll feel like, even the winner, me, will feel like he's been in a car crash after.
Oh, okay, so let's get to why Eric Olsin is here. You know, like we can sit here and talk about his history and stuff like that, but we've got plenty of time. So this BKB event coming up June 8th at the O2 Arena in London on Fight TV. There's 3 fights in particular that really interest me. And the first one is Ali Thompson and Josh Burns. What is your feelings on that fight?
Josh is going to crush him. So here's my opinions on that. Josh, and I know a lot of people from over in England might say, oh, I'm an American, Josh is American, so I'm backing up. That's not the case. Josh is a friend of mine. I have a lot of love for Josh. We get along very well. He's backed me up when I've been over there, helped corner and everything. I love the guy. But his fighting style is more aggressive. He's more bouncy. And he can just unload very fast for someone his size. You watch Ali Thompson. Hey, I'm not insulting Ali Thompson. I don't want to get punched by Ali Thompson. I don't want Ali Thompson fucking swinging at me. Fuck that. That motherfucker looks like Megatron. But so does Josh. So I think Ali's way too flat-footed, and he doesn't have any experience in BKB. Look at who Josh has fought. He fought Miles Harry, who's a monster, a Welsh fighter. He didn't get knocked out. He had a cold and a fever, and he went the distance. He fought, what's his name? Terrell is like a fucking serial killer in the bare knuckle scene who used to fight in super combat. Like, Terrell is a fucking, Michael Terrell is a fucking warlord.
Yeah, he's a beast.
And you don't want to get fucking, and again, another great guy, great fighter. I know him very well. But to lose to those 2 guys straight right there, and not get obliterated, not get your head knocked off and like leaving a structure set on you. Then he didn't get obliterated by those guys. Then he proceeded to destroy Billy Bang Bang Hawthorne.
Who's
again,
tough.
that guy,
he's tough.
He can fight. Like, I don't like Hawthorne. We don't get along. But if he hits you, you leave on a stretcher.
Yeah, you're going out.
He's just one of those people that can punch like a fucking mule can kick.
Like a mule.
And Josh runs through him. And then Josh had a fight with this guy from Bellator, this big black guy, who the fight ended on an eye poke or something.
Johnson.
So Josh has the experience, and Josh is just an aggressive fighter. He's not me. He doesn't counterfight you. He comes in, and he'll take a shot to give a shot. And in my opinion, Ali Thompson, from the videos I've seen of him, is just too flat-footed. And then there was another guy, Jenkins, who Ali totally just dismantled. Jenkins looks like Ali Thompson, same body type, big motherfucker, 6'4", looks like can box, can move.
Yeah, the difference between Ali and those guys though is Ali, I don't think has the hand athleticism as the other big guys that were able to keep Josh away. Like, I don't think he's got the footwork. And Josh Burns,
doesn't, in my opinion.
Josh Burns, who is the number 2 American in terms of overall bare knuckle fights. Both Eric and Josh are both number 1 and number 2. Big fan favorites over there, both these guys. So I'm actually really interested in that fight as well. Like, I think, I know it's not towards the end of the card. I think it's in the beginning of it. But that fight alone, Ali Thompson, Josh Burns. I mean, you got a local guy from Detroit that's flying over there doing all these bare knuckle events. You got a guy from New York flying himself over there, essentially living with the gypsies. That's what Olsin does.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. Well, Eric,
Well, these guys are all English guys. These aren't gypsies, just for the record. Like Nathan wasn't Egyptian, but they'll take that as a big insult if they hear that. A lot of people that are gypsies will take it like, "What the fuck? These are Englishmen." So I just wanted to clear that up. They don't consider themselves gypsies.
And Welshmen. I apologize for that. I'm not familiar with their culture, and they have corrected me in the past.
Understand.
But the gypsy culture over there, they're proud gypsies, and I respect them. I respect those guys a lot.
They're fighting people.
Yeah. And what was Jimmy Sweeney saying to you in your ear before you went before you fought your last event? I'm sitting next to Jonah, and we're watching Sweeney just get you amped up. He's in your ear. What is he saying?
Sweeney's a great fighter, but what I like about him is he's really a great coach too, because I didn't have anyone over there. And, Sweeney's kind of like my blueprint for bare knuckle boxing. When I came over, I idolized him for what he was doing, and I still do. I still have a lot of respect for him. So he was telling me, basically, the guy's not in your league, so be prepared for him to be hard as nails because it's his last fight. And you need to do this to win. Say again?
Yeah, Greg Main, which was real respectful. Yeah, it was a good fight. So go ahead. Keep saying. I want to know what he was saying in your ear.
Sweeney was telling me, you want to lose, basically, this is going to be your hardest fight. Don't underestimate him. You're a better boxer, but he has nothing to lose, and you have everything to lose. So fucking shape up, get with it, box smart, and do not brawl, and set traps and all that stuff. And in between rounds, he told me, he's like, you lost the first round. It's too close to call. And the second round, he was like, what are you doing? You're sleeping. This is not an 8 or 10 round boxing match on HBO Boxing. Wake up. He's like, you got to win this next round and win it big. Keep your jab going, feint him, stutter him with feints, and then jabs, and that's what I did, and I won. So his IQ was great. And I had Tyler Goodjohn in my corner with his Versace shirt. Tyler didn't say too much. I think he was fucking flirting with, like, multiple ring card girls at the moment.
He
was shampooing his hair.
So when we were watching that, I'm sitting there, because, Jonah's a newer fan of the sport, and I'm telling him, that's Jimmy Sweeney. He's like, oh, who's that? I go, man, that's the number one dude in bare knuckle. Number one in bare knuckle boxing. And I'm like, what do you think he's saying to him? What do you think he's saying? Because whatever Jimmy was saying to you, that's what he's saying to himself in his head as he walks to that ring. Like, I love that aspect of fighting. Like, what is he saying to you to get you geeked up? Because that's what he's doing to himself. And dude, I leaned over, I saw John, I go, man, I'm going to ask Eric what was being said in his ear. For some reason, that's important to me.
Oh, it's important to me, and I like those. I like those details. To me, the devil's in the details. He was telling me an intelligent thing, and what he was saying, because, I've had a lot of fights, and a lot of people will kill him, get mad, blah, blah. I don't feel anything when I fight my best. He was being honest. You're fighting somebody who doesn't care if they win or lose. Beware what he's going to try to do. You're the superior boxer, but it's a fight. And in bare knuckle boxing, you get hit once, even if you're winning the right hit, you're fucking going to open up like a can top just hit your face.
Yeah, and that's one thing athletes in other sports seem to get is that you got to be in your zone. You don't want to be upset. You don't want to be mad. You don't want to be happy. You just want to zone out. You just want to let your body take over. These guys get amped up and they get pissed off and they end up getting knocked out.
No emotion.
Exactly.
You get too mad, you burn energy.
Hey, Eric, coming up not too far around the corner, we got that tournament finale coming up between Conley and Franco.
On that same card.
That same card, yeah. So what are your thoughts on that?
So, all right, my thoughts on that is I think that's a real 50-50 good close fight. Connolly I met him at the last one. That guy can box. He's amazing.
Yep.
And Franco is actually a good friend of mine from Cage Steel. I met him on doing MMA over there in Doncaster. And he's real fucking vicious, and he can box. This is my thing on that. The reason I say it's a 50-50 fight is because, in my opinion, they're both great boxers. They're both great fighters. They're both very similar to each other, so this is what makes it 50-50. Franco's been on a winning streak. That guy is just unstoppable. He's ruthless.
He's a tornado. Yeah, he's a ruthless
Connolly
beast.
apparently lost his first round, and due to someone getting an injury, he got back in the tournament.
He got back in.
So I think Connolly, you flashed $10,000 in front, $10,000, 10 grand in front of me after it was, for all respect and purposes, gone. You're going to come back better. So I honestly wouldn't bet on that one. I'm not going to tell a winner or a loser on that one because, I've seen them both box, and they both almost look like mirror images of themselves. And I have all the respect in the world for them. They both can fight. They both can move. And one's coming off a nonstop win streak. The other one's coming off a loss. Now he's coming off a win, and think about 10 grand in front of you, then taken away. And then it gets flashed back in front of you. You're like, just like a bridge. Like, you're not going to fucking let that slide now. So I think that mentally and physically, they're both at the best they're going to be. There's no laziness between them as fighters. Franco is up every day, taking ice baths, and the same thing with Connolly. I think I'm actually pronouncing his name wrong. I apologize.
It's Canelli, I think.
Yeah, Canelli.
Well,
yeah, sounds Italian.
Yeah. I don't know.
What was it? But yeah. So he's another one that he's not gonna. So I think that's going to come down to one of those fights that on the night, who's a little sharper is going to get it. And I can't predict that one because I that's like betting on the Golden State Warriors versus the Rockets when all their fucking players are healthy.
Yeah, so if you had to give each of those guys one piece of advice to win the fight, what would you tell each of them they need to come in there and do?
Fuck it. I couldn't. I wouldn't even pretend to give them advice because to me they're
both really
they're fucking.
Yeah.
They're levels above me when it comes to pure boxing skill, in my opinion. I'm not speaking fighting skill because I can fight and they can fight. But when it comes to boxing, like I watch them and I'm like, they are what I lack in skill. I can make up for in brute strength. They don't need to.
Yeah, you're grit. Yeah, Eric, you're grit, and they're more finesse. But I will tell you, Franco. I looked at the odds. Franco is actually a heavy favorite, and I can. You can see that because he's like a tornado and he's going through everybody. But like the human wreckage that Franco creates whenever he steps through those ropes, he's not going to be able to get away with that with Canelli or Canelli. They pronounce things differently over there. Here on the south side of Chicago, it's Conley. So, he's not going to be able to get away with that with Conley. And I think people are sleeping on this fight.
Most people in England are perpetually drunk and they're sleeping. They think anybody who's been winning is automatically going to keep winning. And that's not to say Franco isn't going to keep winning. I'm just saying in that fight, basically watch either of them shadow box and take their shadow and match it against them. That's what I feel like.
You can't count Conley out. Like, to me,
hell no.
That's fight of the night. And I think there's going to be an upset there. The guy that lost in his first round, it was such a brutal fight that his opponent couldn't continue. I think the jitters, like you said, kind of got shaken off. There's a prize that doesn't belong to him. And, if you can get away with stealing something rather than, earning it the hard way, if you're Conley, I think you owe it to the game to do that.
Yeah. But honestly, if his opponent wasn't able to continue, it's not an outright win, but he did kind of earn his way there.
He earned his way there. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so the main event, Edgar Puerta, Jimmy Sweeney. What are your predictions?
Sweeney crushes him. Again, the guy that he's fighting, and I'm going to say this about MMA guys, kickboxers, and I'm going to say this about boxers. Bare knuckle boxing is none of those sports. There are large differences that you do not understand until you're in the fight. You can't prepare for it because you haven't had it. It's not a street fight at a bar either with somebody like Sweeney. Sweeney's an amazing counterboxer, and in my opinion, from what I see, he changes his tempo up, which a lot of fighters, including myself, have a problem doing.
He changes his tempo. And he moves at his feet, and it's his ankles and knees is where his movement is, and he counterpunches walking in.
Yeah, his counterpunching, his footwork. But 1 minute he's throwing 2 punches, the next he's on the offense throwing 10, cutting an angle, and waiting. So it's very hard to predict, and he will make you pay. Yeah. This guy he's fighting, I'm not going to say that the guy can't fight. I'm not going to say the guy can't box. How many bare knuckle fights does he have with the world watching? I think,
he's got a couple minor titles. He's got a couple minor gloved boxing titles.
Exactly, gloved.
Yeah.
But in my first bare knuckle fight, what I didn't count on, and maybe just because I'm insane, when I was getting hit in the ear, like a triggered cauliflower ear, for 5 rounds of getting punched with a knuckle in my ear, because I'm so used to boxing gloves that I can shell. And when that punch comes around, it doesn't matter because my gloves are there to take it. There's no gloves there with that. That's one of the little things is little punches slip in, knuckles hit, you get little cuts, you feel blood. For fighters who have not done bare knuckle, and I don't even think bare knuckle is the most brutal. In my opinion, MMA is the most brutal, and K1 is. Mm-hmm. But to get put in that fight with, and you can't prepare for it. What are you going to bare knuckle spar for your first bare knuckle fight?
No, it's rough.
You got to have a trial by fire, and I don't think a lot of those, particularly boxers, I think boxers are kind of the softest of all combat sports, want to sit there and get their face smashed in. So I think that if he gets hit once or twice, which he will, and he starts bleeding, he's going to be like, what the fuck is this? And that's where I think we'll see what comes of it. But I definitely think Sweeney has all the tools. He's on a monumental winning streak, and his skill is just too good. And Sweeney defeats people like I do. He psychologically fucks them before they get in the ring.
He
my
breaks you
walkouts, my everything with that's a psychological game. Fighting is fucking 80% mental, 10% physical, and the rest 10% strategy at the right time, in my opinion. And if I can make you like Greg, my last opponent, he wasn't scared of me, but he was in awe of me. It was too much respect. Too much. Yeah. You respect me too much, you're not fighting to win, you're fighting to hang out. If you're too scared, you're fighting to survive. There's a difference.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
So I think Sweeney fucking eats him alive, and then...
Dude, and you're in Sweeney's hometown, and you know, man, he would be foolish to go anywhere else. Like, his entrance, his bravado, his crowd, man, dude, it's special. Like, if you guys really want to experience, like if you're an MMA fan...
My walkout's better, just for the record. I'm sorry, Jimmy, but my walkout better.
You need like a Game of Thrones type chair. You know, you need to up Jimmy's or a couch, a giant couch or something like that. You got to up the game.
He's got a throne that he gets carried out in.
Well, Eric, you know what, man? I'm going to tell you what. We plan on doing this every BKB event, and
I'm down.
I know you are. You're a gamer, bro, and. You're a smart guy. You know your stuff. I honestly think we're going to try to work things out to where, you know, we can have conversations and really break this down. This Saturday, we're going to be doing like a little house party over here so these guys can all see an event from beginning to end. And, dude, we really, really appreciate you coming on. Why don't we do another one of these after June 8th? We'll do a recap.
Okay, I'm down.
Is that cool?
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
So June 8th, when is your actual fight in New York?
My fight is June 7th, and then my birthday is June 8th. So I'm going to beat up Castro, and then I'm going to actually invite him out to hibachi dinner with me and all my close friends.
Nice.
All right, well
that's awesome.
I know Castro.
Yeah.
I know Castro because Castro and me used to be on the same team when we were amateurs.
That's cool.
So me and him, he's like a little version of me at the 150. He's a 155-pound fighter that doesn't feel comfortable at 155 anymore. But like he terrorized the fight scene. He started problems with people. He's like me. Like I call him my little brother. We've known each other for years. Like sparring. He got me ready for Bellator. I helped get him ready for Bellator. We fought on the same Bellator card. And then my opponent pulled out. He wanted to move up in weight because he's like 5'7", so he's like, I'm sick of fucking cutting weight at 155. I want to fight at 170, 185. They're like, well, we got Eric. And me and him are just both crazy enough. It's like no hard feelings. When the cage door shuts, I've been hired, as it were, to do some damage, and I'm going to. But he's still going to be my boy, so I'm going to have to pick him up after I knock him out and take him out for fucking.
So he's
going to pay for my hibachi dinner next night.
That's good. So this is the plan, Eric. This is what we're going to do. We're going to wrap up right now, and we're going to touch base with you right after the event. And we're going to do a complete and total breakdown. We're going to talk all things bare knuckle. We'll talk about the bare knuckle scene here, bare knuckle scene there.
Yeah, we can probably do a preview of the one that's coming up in Tampa.
Yeah, so why don't we touch on all that stuff right after this event, and we can do a complete breakdown, and we'll have it up that night. So when these guys wake up in Europe, it'll come up. No, dude, Eric, I really, really respect you a lot as a fighter.
I'm sorry, your phone was cutting out a little bit. The next time we speak, I won't be driving back from Pittsburgh.
Kick ass. All right, Eric, we'll be in touch, brother. Thanks, man. Appreciate you joining us. Take care.
Thank you very much, guys. Have a good night.
Yeah, you too.
Bye.
All right, so that was Eric Olsin. John, this Saturday.
I'm interested.
June 8th. I'm telling you, they do a phenomenal job matchmaking over there. I think they need a little help production-wise, but I'm telling you, Jonah, we're hanging out this Saturday, and we're going to do a breakdown right after, okay?
Yeah, and also Eric Olsin, put that guy's name in Google, you're going to get some crazy videos. This guy...
He was calm.
Yeah.
I think he was... He's
Should I say something next time to rattle him up?
You don't really have to.
well, between his fights, a lot of his fights are available for free on YouTube. And then also, just he has some interview. Like, this guy is a real character, man. It's great to talk to. It's real fun to talk to. Very knowledgeable.
Well, the thing is, he uses their culture against them. Like, when people are like, yeah, people are booing you here, he goes, you know what? If you put me in against Jimmy Savile, they'd be cheering for him. I mean, that's the most prolific child molester, that has ever graced, like, this galaxy, and he's from over there. Like, he uses their culture against him, and he's just a brilliant guy. Like, I think we're going to polish him up a little bit, because I see him eventually going and sitting in that broadcast booth. He just got to do the little things here and there.
Yeah.
Maybe not swearing, stuff like that. But at the end of the day, this guy's going to be an asset, and he is going to be our key to that audience.
Oh, yeah, no, whatever it is, he's got it. I can tell within the half an hour that we were speaking with him.
Yeah, he's so he touched on in the podcast you'll hear in a minute. He touched a little bit on how he went there and he just stayed for a while.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, man.
I think that he was not just training to fight. I think he was learning about the culture. Like, he learned how he was going to dig at everybody he had to dig at. I think he really got into the culture in a way that makes him unique.
They're flying this guy over from New York. All right. If you think I'm flying somebody over from Europe to fight on one of my events to win, you're out of your mind. They're trying to get this guy killed every time he goes over there.
He keeps letting him down.
Not only does he keep letting him down, he keeps getting a bigger and bigger fan base. Like, some people hate him, some people like him, but there's no gray area. Like, if he loses a fight, half the audience is like celebrating the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
If he wins the fight, the other half is trolling the people that hate him. Like, he is an asset to have on the card.
He's a natural heel.
100.
And everybody that hates him, that proclaims that they're boycotting the fight so they don't, because he's on it, there's 10 people who showed up just to watch him lose.
June 8th is the event. I highly suggest you watch it. Fight TV. Thanks, guys. Thanks for joining us.
Subscribe and hit like, guys.